Okay, it's nice we are back. Okay, before I go any further, I wanna just say that if this problem continues, then I'll have to work on it. As a matter of fact, I wanna assure you by tomorrow I'll check out the company and have them to up the speed of the internet for me. Okay, it will cost me a little bit more, but I'll have to carry up the speed somehow to see if that's the problem, if the speed is the problem, because everything is in its rightful place. I'm not using Wi-Fi, I'm using the internet. It's all plugged in to the device, and I was getting even this kind of problem since yesterday. Okay, so if you hear me clearly, let me know that you hear me clearly. Okay, let me know if you're hearing me clearly, if I'm speaking loud enough, and if you're hearing me clearly. Okay, I just want to reiterate what I would have just said before. I would have to call the company tomorrow and ask them to up the speed of the internet for me. Okay, it will cost a little bit more money, but I don't have a problem with that. I'll get the speed up, so I make sure I don't get any kind of problem, because the only thing I can suggest that is giving me these little problems when I try to go live, it have to be the speed. So I'll carry the speed of the internet up this week for sure. Okay, so I want to assure you that. So I'm just saying that to let you know that you should have some patience with me if I get any further problem while doing this live. I make sure get that fixed for next week by getting the company to carry up the speed of the internet for me. Okay, nice to have each and every one. Nice having you, Darlene. Nice having you, Mr. Dick Jima. Nice having you also, Canadian Kosh. Nice having you with us in this Bible study. Now, let me just reiterate what we would have covered last week. And our lesson was taken from St. John chapter 1, and we are speaking on the subject of taking back your mind power. Because the most powerful thing that you possess in this world is your mind. And you have to be the one who have to take control of your mind, especially as an adult. Now, when you were a child, you didn't know any better. So what was taught to you and was downloaded in your subconscious mind, you accept it. But now you've come to a time where there's more information available, where we are living in a more digital age. You've come to realize that at that young age, they were sowing things in your subconscious mind to control your mind. And one of the things that was used is the interpretation of the Bible, where they interpret the Bible to you as if the Bible is literal and as if the Bible is secular history. And so they point you to believe in a power outside of yourself. They get you to go against your own self by choice, because each and every one of us has been given a choice. So there's no one in this world to change but yourself. And there's no one in this world to blame but yourself. So now you know the truth of self-realization. You are more responsible for your thoughts and your actions. And now you're responsible for the knowledge that has been shared with you, that you are to use to uplift your life and also to be of benefit to humanity. So if we're going to help our brothers and sisters who are trapped in secular Christianity, we have to be able to simplify the psychological interpretation of the Bible in a way that they can understand it and understand that it is their own spiritual autobiography that must be interpreted psychologically. So one of the first thing we have to show them, as I would have shown you last week, is that when the Bible says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, you have to show them that it is teaching you that everything that has ever been created came from the invisible. So whenever they see the word God, it is speaking of the invisible. And that which is invisible is formless. And just as I'm speaking to you, and you cannot see my words because they're invisible, it is because it is that part of me that is invisible that is speaking. And it is that part of you that is invisible that is listening. Because everything is taking place within. So a word is a thought expressed. And you and your word are one. Anywhere you travel, your thoughts will go with you. So when the Bible speaks of disciples, it is speaking about your thoughts. Because a disciple is a follower, and your thoughts are what will follow you wherever you go. So it's teaching you the psychological truth of the Bible in a parabolic way, in a symbolic way. Then it tells you in verses 2, because I'm just recapping. The same was in the beginning with God. Your thoughts have always been with you. Because your thoughts are vibrational frequencies. And each time you speak, it's a vibration. Because everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. Now, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Energy can only be transformed or trans. Okay, we're back live. As I said before, we get some of these problems, but I'm gonna up the speed of the internet. Okay, so by next week everything should be better. So as I was saying here also, that everything actually stems from a thought, and a word is a thought expressed. Okay, and I was saying the same was in the beginning with God, and I was telling you that your thoughts are always with you because vibrational frequency, and each time I speak to you, it's a vibration because everything is energy, vibration, and frequency, and that energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be transmuted. So the very camera I'm looking into, it's a transmutation of energy. Someone first had a thought, they first had an idea. And when they had that thought or that idea, it was invisible. It was only a perception in his mind. But he had to believe in the invisible and act on that which he cannot see so that there would be a manifestation. And that's how this camera could have been contacted by the five senses, where we can see it and we can touch it, where we can actually feel it as a material substance or matter. So everything comes from spirit to. Okay, we are back. Let me apologize for all of the breaks. Let me say, for those who now get on the live, as I said before, I'm gonna up the speed of the internet. I'm gonna call the company tomorrow of the speed of the internet. So I don't believe I will get this problem next week. Okay? So I was speaking actually about how everything that you see, it came from spirit to matter, and that energy. Okay. Well, I'm still on?
Yes.
Okay. And how everything has been just transmutation of energy. All of that is known as alchemy. So we are to be alchemists. That's the reason why you have to have the right understanding of what the Bible is saying in St. John chapter 1. Because if you get the right understanding of St. John chapter 1, you get the right understanding of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and all every part of the Bible. Because you will understand also the creation story when it says in Genesis that in the beginning, God, you will realize it is speaking of the invisible substance that creates all things. It is speaking of energy, vibration, and frequency. You would realize that it is speaking of something that is taking place within, because the universe is within you. So it is not a creation that is taking place outside of you. It is showing you how you have come to be able to perceive that which is within you, because you are the perceiver and you're beholding the perception that everything is downloaded in you. And we are living in the age of science and technology to an extent that you can look at a flash drive and understand what I'm speaking about. You can look at a computer and understand what I'm speaking about. The things that can be downloaded on a flash drive, you cannot literally look at them and see them. It is actually there downloaded in an invisible way. But when you plug it into the computer, then you see everything that is downloaded in that flash drive. And the Bible tells you in Ecclesiastes 11, I think it's Ecclesiastes 3, chapter 3 and verses 11, that the world is downloaded in you, that everything is mental, that everything is psychological, and that there's an inner world and an outer world. That is why you have to be in touch with the laws that governs the universe and the laws that governs humanity. So you will understand, as above, so below. As it is within, so is it without. So that's how you get to understand why in St. John 1, as in chapter 1, why when you reach verses 3, it tells you that all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Now, those who want to control your mind and want to keep you under mind control, they interpret the him to you as a man 2,000 years ago. They interpret the him to you to believe in a power outside of yourself, to believe in a God outside of yourself, to believe in a creator outside of yourself. So you would not come into self-consciousness. So you will not come into self-realization and understand that imagination is what creates reality. So this is what I want everyone to achieve from this particular passage of scripture, is that it is teaching you that imagination is what creates reality, and that imagination is the creator in everyone. And when you find the secret of creation and use that power to create your reality consciously, then you are taking back control of your mind power, because you'll be able to use your mind power to achieve your every desire. So when you say all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made, you have to realize it's just a personification of your imagination. So this symbol of your imagination is being personified. And those who wanted to keep you in mind control, they make you believe that it is speaking of a person outside of yourself. They make you believe it is speaking of a special man who born a special way and had special powers. But you are that special one, because out of millions of sperms, you were chosen. And you've been given powers that you can use to create the life that you so desire. For example, you have been given willpower. You've been given perception. You've been given memory. You've been given reasoning. You've been given intuition and imagination. And these are the faculties that you came into this world with. And all these faculties were before book. They were before pen. They were before paper. They were before the bench and the desk. So if you can understand that the kind of education that we were given is a part of mind control and a part of the program to keep you grounded in a place of lack and mediocrity, to keep you in a place of dependency, then you will understand why the clergy and those behind the system put such a system in place to give you an employee mentality. So each and every one of us that went to school, we were taught to get good grades and to look for a good job. But we were never taught that we have a creative power in us. And that creative power in us is the creator. And when we understand that that creative power is the creator in us, that we will have power to create our reality. So we can be above and not beneath. So we can be the head and not the tail. So we can be above, as I said before, and not beneath. So we can be the lender and not the borrower. So when you understand what I'm trying to bring across to you, you will realize that this book that I'm holding in my hand here, okay, this book can be used to keep you in poverty and mediocrity. And this same book can be used to put you in a place of affluence, a place of prosperity, good health, and wisdom. So my brother and my sisters, your imagination can either take you in the gutter or your imagination can lift you higher. It's all have to do with the concept that you hold about yourself. And that is why you have to have the right concept of yourself, by understanding that God is your imagination and that there's no other God. There's no God outside of man. Because when we go on further, you will realize that there's no God outside of man. So this is what it says after verses 3, we are going on to verses 4, but let me just reiterate verses 3 for you. Say, all things were made by him. What you say? All things were made by what? The human imagination. Everything was first a thought. Everything was first imagined. Everything was first an idea. Everything that was given to us to benefit in this world, it was first a thought. It was first an idea in someone's mind. It was first invisible, and the invisible be made visible. So it is thought, action, and manifestation. And without him was not anything made that was made. Without imagination, and let me say a vivid imagination and belief in oneself, there could not have been a telephone. There could not have been an airplane. There could not have been a computer. There would not have been electricity. All of these things came from the mind of man. And we see right now we're living in a world that you can listen to me thousands and thousands of miles away. Which means that telepathically we could actually connect with one another because the telephone is hearing from a distance. And the television is actually seeing from a distance. So they use these same things that was created by those who we refer to as the inventors. They do not refer to them as creators. They refer to them as inventors so they could check you with words. So all these things are an expression of us. Because there's no limit to the imagination. There's no limit to our thoughts. And we are all connected. So just as your body have millions and millions of cells, and these cells make up tissues, and you have an individual, so too you have a collective, so too you have the human race, and we are all connected by the same power, and it is the power of thoughts, the power of imagination. So if there is one God and there's one creator, and that one God and that one creator, everyone is responsible to answer to that one God and that one creator, then it have to be that we all have to answer to our intuition or our inside teacher. In other words, we all have to answer to our imagination, to our perception. Because
we are back.
Okay, we are back. Because there is no action that can take place unless it was first a thought. So when you learn that every action is the manifestation or the expression of a thought, then you realize that everything is cause and effect. So to every effect, there is a cause. And all causation comes from you. It is not a man outside of yourself. It is not a devil outside of yourself. The devil only represents your lower self. And God only represents your higher self. So many people still trapped with the God concept of a man in the sky instead of a power that is within themselves. And my brothers and my sisters, if you would take a trip back with me to memory lane, you would realize that there's nothing you can remember that when you were a month old. There's nothing you can remember when you were 2 months old. There are not even things that you can remember when you were 1 year old or even 2 years old. And all of that is to prove to you that you were born in this world in amnesia, a state of forgetfulness. Therefore, you are seeking to discover yourself. And that is the secret that they're hiding from you from a very young age. Through the educational system, the political system, and the religious system, so they can control your destiny. But when you realize that it is your own thoughts that is creating your reality, that is your own thought that is creating your personality, then you have power. Because you have the power of what thought to entertain and what thought to reject. You do not need to pay a preacher tithes and offering to tell you that you should know better than to break into someone's home and stealing. Now, let me just show you something. Okay? Many times, you will hear a preacher say, the Lord told me. The Lord spoke to me. And nobody in the congregation would ever approach their pastor and say, Pastor, when you said the Lord spoke to you, who are you speaking about? Ask any Christian that question. It have to be that they're speaking of their intuition. It have to be that they're speaking about their mind. Their mind tell them something. But they're not saying that their mind tell them. They're not saying that their intuition tell them. They want to keep you under fear of a master outside of yourself. So they're saying to you, the Lord tell me. What Lord could be speaking to a pastor or a preacher that is not speaking to you? What power can put a preacher to sleep? That is not the same power that is putting you to sleep and waking you up. How could he speak on your behalf? From a God who gives you the same faculties that he gave him or gave her. And the reason why I'm saying this, I heard a woman who called herself a pastor speaking on whether the third eye is biblical or not biblical and so on. I didn't even listen much of it because she just keeps saying, the Lord spoke to me, the Lord spoke to me, the Lord spoke to me, the Lord. And I'm saying, but you know, she's not telling the people when she said the Lord spoke to her. How did the Lord spoke to her? Did the Lord speak to her audibly? Or did she hear a voice within? You see how these preachers just really brainwash their congregation? So they won't realize that whenever the preacher speaks of the Lord speaking to them, it is their imagination they're speaking about, it is their intuition they're speaking about. You see, my brother and my sisters, many people fail to realize that God is life, and life is God, and there's nothing higher than life. There's nothing greater than life. There's nothing beyond life. God cannot be beyond life because God is life. Because there's nothing higher than life. Life cannot die. Life can be transformed. You can see people right before you who've been transforming. You remember, look at a picture of you when you were 7 years old. And then look at a picture when maybe say you turn 40 and so on. You see, we keep transforming. Death is not real. So these are some of the things that we have to come to understand to take control of our minds. That is why, let me go on here now. It tells you in verses 4 of St. John, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light here is speaking of the perception. Okay, so as I was saying, there's only one life. That's why there's only one life giver. Now, the only life giver that we have, that we can say yes, we know of, is the sun, the S-U-N. If the sun doesn't rise up, there'll be total darkness, total chaos, and everything would die. The plants would die, the animals would die, the human would die. There wouldn't be no water, there wouldn't be anything. The sun provides everyone with energy. The sun provides everyone with frequency. Everything comes from the sun. So there's one God, there's one life, and there's only one life giver. Now, I want you to think a little deeply with me. We're told that Jesus is a S-O-N, born from a woman. Now, how can a woman or a man or anyone exist unless there first be the S-U-N? Now, you're told that Jesus is the light of the world. Yet they told you that Jesus born 2,000 years ago. So if Jesus is the light of the world and he's 2,000 years old, what was the light of the world before Jesus? That is why I do not believe in such a thing as BC and AD. I believe Christ has always been, because Christ is an experience. And that is the experience that I have experienced. That's why I'm here bringing this message to you, speaking from my experience, that we are eternal, that we are infinite, and that God in man is our imagination. We're back? Good. When you accept God as your imagination, you are accepting your God self. You're accepting your power. You're not accepting a power that was given to you by the system. You're accepting the very life in you, because you realize that you are searching and seeking to find yourself. That's why in verses 5 it says, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. There are people who will never understand that God is their imagination in this lifetime. It will take them another lifetime to come to that realization, because they're so chopped and so brainwashed and so filled with their ego that they would be unwilling to say that I was brainwashed, I was stupid, I wasn't thinking for myself. And the reason why most of us do not think for ourselves is because they have kept us so busy. For example, they kept us so busy with school. And after school, they keep you busy with a job. I'm not saying anything wrong with getting a job, especially when you come to this kind of understanding. You will realize that if you have a job, you're going to work yourself out of that and to have your own. Okay? Because you have a better understanding now about yourself and about money. But the way how this system program is to keep you real busy. Because the more busy you are, the less time you get to spend with yourself. So man's biggest problem is that man don't think. Man don't spend time with his own self and think. Let me give you an example. About 5 minutes away from where I'm living here, there's a church. And every Sunday these people will be bawling and crying and screaming to a God outside of themselves. And the outside of that church, there is a sign of a cross. And it has written on it, the inscription written on it says that Jesus Christ is the light of the world. And many times I ask those folks, if Jesus is the light of the world, what happened to the sun? And they think I'm a crazy man. But if I tell them, I'm going to teach them how to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, and how to become a millionaire, they will want to listen to me. And then if they decide to listen to me and I tell them, they have to get rid of their belief system when they believe in Jesus and Jesus is an idol. Many of them will say they rather die poor. So you see how people be made to embrace poverty? There are people who take pride in poverty. When the very Bible that they're reading tell them that they should be like the river. No, sorry, like the tree planted by the river of water that brings forth its fruit in due season. When they delight in the law. Which law? The law of consciousness. The law of mentalism. The law of understanding that everything is for us mental, everything is for us psychological, everything starts with the mind, everything is mental. It's a common sense. Everybody working for money. Money was for us a thought. It was for us mental, it was for us an idea. It was for us imagine. And these are the same people who say, God is their provider. Now, if God is the provider and they're working for money, and these preachers who have private jets, they say that it's God who blessed them with these things. Then let us trace the origin of these things, and you will see that these men who we refer to as inventors, that they're actually creators, and they create things by using their creative imagination, which is actually God in man. They grab hold of their creative power. So to believe in yourself is to believe in God. To accept yourself is to accept God. To love yourself is to love God. So those that are in darkness, they will never comprehend the light. They will never understand us. They will think that we are brainwashed and that we are deceived. They will never see that they are the ones who have been brainwashed and been deceived. That they are giving the power away to an idol named Jesus. And that is why most people who look like me do not like when you tell them that they are worshiping a man with blonde hair and blue eyes. And they say that color doesn't matter. Now, if color doesn't matter, why won't we present a colorless savior? Or why won't we give a Bible like this one that has a blank space for everyone to identify themselves? Everyone can put their names next to the Christ, because the real name of God is I am. And you can never say I am and not referring to yourself. I am the way, the truth, and the life. The way is within me. The truth is within me. The life is within me. And I say this with all confidence. That's why I do not teach like the scribes and Pharisees. I teach as one that having authority, because that authority is in each and every one of us. And you have to grab hold of that authority. That's why you have to take control of your mind and take back your power. That is why I always say I don't look up to no one, and I do not look down to look down upon no one. I treat everyone the same. And even those of you who would listen to me and be inspired by these teachings, do not look up to me like a T.D. Jakes, a Creflo Dollar. I don't want nobody to look up to me, because I will disappoint you if you look up to me. Why you think people just leave church from one church to the next church to the next church? Because when they realize that the pastor brushing all the young girls, they realize the pastor like to look at a naked woman like Jimmy Swaggart. Or the pastor love boys like Eddie Long. What do you think they just do? They just change the location of church. They start to go to different church. And fail to realize that this body is the real church. This is the real house of God. Because God is your imagination. Let me move on. Verses 6 and 7. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to be a witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. My friends, do you realize that most people believe that when the Bible speaks of John the Baptist, it is speaking of a man over 2,000 years ago? This is John. This body of yours, this physical man, is John the Baptist. It is speaking of your physical birth, your water birth. You were baptized with water in your mother's womb. That was your first baptism. Because you were going to be expressed as John the Baptist, as the witness. This body is the witness and the expression of the soul. This visible body is the expression and the proof of the invisible soul. That is why it says, and God breathed the breath of man, and man became a living soul. The breath in you is the very life in you. God and man are one. If I tape your mouth and your nose, and you can't breathe, you're a dead man. So when you look at a person on the outside, you're looking at the visible soul. And when you listen to a person speak, or listen to your own self speak, that's the invisible, giving witness to the visible. And that is why we have to become witnesses by using our imagination to create our reality consciously, so we can testify of the Christ within us. My brother, my sisters, when you understand that you will never want to be broke another day in your life, because you will realize that you have a purchasing power inside of you that will grant you your every desire. You see why the system want to always keep you controlled? So, as I was saying, John came for a witness, to be a witness of the light. And I'm saying to you, this body is what is bearing witness of the light. The light is behind this body, that all men through him might believe. It is only when we prove to others that imagination creates reality that some of them would believe. Some of them wouldn't believe now. So my brother, my sister, do not try to change people from their religious belief. Use your mind to create what you want and then testify to them. I use my mind for this chair that I'm sitting in right now. When I was doing my 33 days challenge of scripting, using the 153 magic code that is in St. John chapter 21. When we get down to places like St. John chapter 21, trust me, we'll be real rumble in the jungle. Because this truth right now, this will destroy all of Christianity. But unfortunately, there are many who have gathered unto themselves, teachers, have been etching ears, telling them what they want to hear. So they're running and hiding from themselves. So give them a devil. They don't want to face their own selves. So give them a devil. So they could blame a devil. I have no devil to blame because I am the devil. And I am God too. Because this is what you've been told. I am God and there is no other. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Before man kill, it has to first be imagined. Before man heal, it has to first be imagined. And what I would have just quoted for you, it's in Deuteronomy 32:29. So you can go and read it. Also in Isaiah, I think chapter 45, verses 5 to 7. It says, I am God, there's no other. It says that I create the darkness and I create the light. I create the good and I create the evil. How could you believe a God create the light and he create the darkness too? How could you believe a God create good and he create the evil too? No wonder why so many people they want to be good. But I believe in balance. How do you know that you are a straight man? Because it takes a gay man to teach you that you're straight. The same thing with a woman. So you understand, everything is in that polarity. Everything has a polar opposite. So God and the devil is the same person. Because you have to use your mind to kill. And you have to use your mind to heal too. The same tongue I'm using to bring a blessing to you is the same tongue I can use to bring a curse into you. And my brothers and my sisters, do you realize that the preachers are cursing the people and casting spell on them? Because they are bringing them under the energy of fear, telling them that there's a devil outside of themselves, telling them that there's an eternal hell. How could you born in an eternal hell if you don't have eternal life in the very first place? Then they tell them that God loved them, but yet God gonna punish them in an eternal hell. Before go on, let me just share something else with you. Could you imagine that people believe that in the Old Testament a man could have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wives? And that was justifying the sight of God, it was right. Then these preachers would tell you in the New Testament that you're supposed to only have one wife because it's a sin if you get more than one wife. So then this God that they say that is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, then it means that he just learn. Then it means he just a new thought. Then it means that he just improve upon the thought. Because that means he get a better idea for family and relationship. Then hear the joke now. Hear the joke. Then they use the Bible. For example, they use Ephesians chapter 5. And they tell you that you must go and sign a piece of paper provided by the government to give you legal rights. So you're going to have sex without guilt and shame. And they call it marriage. And the government provide a so-called marriage officer. And the marriage officer say, repeat after me. And he have a small book. He have a small little book. And the marriage officer read it from the small little book. And then the marriage officer say, he have power inside the he to give you right to know have sex without guilt and shame. So he said, no, you may kiss your wife and go home and have sex and don't feel guilt and shame because you're no longer in adultery and fornication. What a joke. What a joke. I would like Christians to show us that scripture for that. When I get deep into certain things in this Bible study and everything, I'm going to go all in Ephesians, so I open marriage. And I have a book called The Truth About Marriage. And while I'm speaking to you, I just want to say to you also that this book, your mood is your fortune. I wrote this book because I realized that stealing your mood from you, they're stealing the joy from you. So you won't discover your fortune is right within you and that you are born rich into this world. So they use marriage to even control the sexuality. You see how damaging religion could be? You see how much secular Christianity is a joke? And they want to tell us that we crazy and we are new. People say, I New Age. I don't even know what is New Age. What is New Age? Somebody help me. I want to know what is New Age. Well, if this is New Age, but New Age have me feeling good. Give me joy. It make me more productive. Who know I would have even write books? Who know I would have even been doing this? I had not even the slightest clue. But when I had the experience of this Bible, I say I have to share this truth with all of humanity. I cannot hide this truth from all of humanity. And I'm going to preach until the day I die, telling humanity that your thought is what is creating your reality and that you can create your reality consciously. Because God is your imagination, the creator in everyone. Okay. Let me move on to verses 8. Let me just read over 6 and 7. There was a man sent from God, and I told you that man who be sent from God is talking about the outer man. Okay, the physical. Whose name was John. Is this speaking about John the Baptist, the baptizer, showing you're the one who be baptized in water. Remember, most of the earth is water, and most of the body is water, and you are surrounded by water in your mother's womb. As I was telling you, that's your first baptism. Okay, the same came for a witness. You came to witness, to be the truth. You come to be the light. You come to shine the light. Because God have no hand without your hand, no foot without your foot, no mouth without your mouth. Okay? To be a witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. Because as I'm saying to you, that's how you're bearing the witness. That there is actually a creator, and that creator resides in you. And you're seeing all the creation around you. How much more dumb can a person be by not realizing that everything that they see around them that they depend upon for survival, it was first imagined. And everything out in nature is being nourished by the sun, as in the sun. And all of that is within you. And the sun in the sky parallel the human imagination. And there's no greater light than the sun, and there's no greater creative power than the imagination. Basic common sense. It don't need no theology. It don't need a rocket scientist to understand that everything that you depend on in this world as a human being, that in your human being experience, I should say, that it comes from the mind. It was created from the mind. So it says in verse 18, he was not that light. This body here, this physical here, as I say, this is just the expression, but was sent to be a witness of that light. We are here to be a witness of the light. We are here to be a witness that God and man are one. We are here to be a witness that everything connects and everything is united together. We're here to prove that there's one universal consciousness. We're here to prove that the sun is within each and every one of us. And that's the light in us. So this body came as a result of the light. So our body is just a signpost. So all you have to do is just look at all of the inventions and you realize that is the expression that there is a creator and that creator is the very life in man. Let me go on to verses 9. He said, that was the true light. No, let me read from verses 8. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighted every man that cometh into the world. Every one of us that comes into this world, our invisible self is the light. And you cannot see that invisible self. But when you go to bed, that invisible self don't sleep. He's the dreamer in you. But I want to share a little secret with you. You realize if you fall out of bed consciously, there's a point whereby you can fall asleep consciously, you know. But you will find yourself slipping out of your body. I'm speaking from experience. And when you slip out of your body, there's a short moment whereby whatever you wish is your command. It's like there's a genie saying to you, anything you wish is yours. But everything has its little consequences with it. Because when I had my first experience, when I was about to wake up, I find myself outside of my body. And because it was my first experience, I was a bit fearful and was fighting in the physical to get back. But I realize now, all you have to do is imagine yourself back on your bed and remember that you was on your bed and just use your imaginary hand to touch your pillow or to touch your wife or whoever, because when it was happening to me, I saw my wife and I hold my wife and shake my wife, but my wife was like a sucker, a sack, like a pillow sack. She was nothing. She didn't know anything. She was nothing. She was totally, we are nothing. My friends, we are nothing. we are like the air. We are nothing. She was like there lying, like she was real. I grabbed her because I wanted to tell her, wake me up. I believe I could have shake her and tell her, wake me up, so she could wake me up. She was lifeless. She had no weight. So I know what I'm speaking about, so you just imagine yourself back. And then you go unconscious again. And then you come back conscious. So there's a part of us that is limitless. there's a part of us that can travel thousands and thousands and thousands of miles. That is why you're told in Joshua 1 and 3 that anywhere that the soul and feet shall tread, it will be given unto you. Anyway, could go in your imagination. My brother and my sister, your imagination can travel. If a man could use his imagination to build a jet, then you telling me that he cannot fly, or he can go beyond the jet, the speed of the jet, that he can travel by the speed of thought? My brother and sister, you can travel by the speed of thought, and I'm speaking from experience. That is why your mind is the greatest tool you can ever possess. The greatest wisdom and knowledge you can ever possess is to grab control of your mind and utilize your mind to create value to humanity by loving yourself and embracing yourself and believing in the God inside of you as your imagination. My brother and my sisters, I spoke about an experience I had with a video I saw with Creflo called Imagination to Manifestation. And in that video he said to his people, then it dawned on me. But he didn't tell him that it really dawned on him that his imagination, it will just create everything, and that imagination is God. Because you want to lose the congregation, you have to understand that. And you know, all of these people sit there and hear Creflo speak about how he and his wife manifest all of these things by using their imagination. And when they wanted a certain building and the owner gave them a certain price, they said to him, the Lord didn't tell me that's the price. And the people dropped the price to the price that Creflo said the Lord told them. He was speaking about his own imagination, his own intuition. The inside man speak to him and tell him that no. I could say, the Lord didn't tell me that, I want to buy that vehicle from you, but you charging me 50,000. The Lord didn't tell me that. The Lord tell me I was going to get it for 35,000. And if I believe that long enough, it will be mine for that price. But he's saying the Lord and Holy Ghost and all of that. And all I'm saying is mind power. It's your imagination. This is the real church. This is the real house of God. Look. Just imagine, right? That I'm a chef and I provided you a meal. What meal could be greater than the meal that you really love the most, the food that you love the most? You can't go beyond that. No. When I give you soul food and tell you to believe in yourself, that God is your imagination and that you can create your reality consciously, and I don't have an offering plate, I ain't telling you have to give me tithes every month. I ain't telling you have to give me offering. It is people's decision to give or not to give. I am not saying to you that you're going to be under a curse. I use a Malachi tree to scare you. As a matter of fact, I wrote a book about Malachi tree, concerning tithes and offering, and I tell you, the 1/10 is for you. You're the high priest. You God in flesh. Where you think the storeroom of God is? This is the storeroom of God. Where you store all the thoughts, and your ideas and your dreams and your goals. Give up the 1/10 that the system keeping you in and go up to the 90 that represent all the faculties you're born in this world, and you get any right brain thinking. That the lesson I've been teaching when I was speaking about the 153 magic code. And start to throw your net for a great catch. A good shepherd does teach the sheep how to get fat. And when he teach the sheep how to get fat, then the sheep in return will provide for the shepherd. But I really enjoy this. These preachers, they're asking for money first. I feel so good. Boy, I'm so glad I escaped religion. If you know how glad I escaped religion, the best thing ever happened in my life is when I escaped when I escaped religion. I asked myself, how am I gonna be so stupid, boy? You realize when you're so busy chasing after money, how you don't really think? You know, the shepherd asking the sheep for money first. That is why most of the time you see the pastor have the ton load and in members, the broke, the fleecing the sheep. Let me come down here to verses 10 now. Okay? So let me just go back to 9 here where I say, that was the true light which lighted every man that cometh into the world. So as I said to you already, the true light that lighted every man is the very life inside you, which is God, your imagination, and it's connected with the sun, the S-U-N. Okay? Because that light above has to connect with that light within you. Life connects to life. The deep calls to the deep response. Okay? That's why you have to be grounded and connected. Let me just put this piece in. That's why many of you need to take your shoes off and realize that you're standing on holy grounds. Get connected. They give you shoes and they give you pitch road to walk up and down a concrete road and make you live in a concrete jungle and you don't get in touch with nature. Take off your shoes. Go outside and get grounded. Get connected. Connect with the S-U-N.
Back.
Okay, we're back live. So as I was saying, your ear is the antenna and everything is connected from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. And that's why you need to get grounded, because you're both magnetic and electrical. You are a magnetic and electrical being. So you want to have that circuit running. You want to get that circuit running with the ideas and the dreams. Walk around your house, man, and affirm your goals and your dreams, being bare feet. Take your shoes off. Too much of people like to buy. Too much of people want to buy the latest brand, the latest this and the latest that. That most of the time we don't even know how to manage with money, because we want to prove to somebody that you come out of poverty when you still have a poverty mentality. We can't speak about melanin and then speak about these kind of teachings, you know. Time for we wise up. That's why the white man go sign a contract with Jordan and make a shoe saying Jordan, knowing that people like you won't come and buy all the Jordan shoe even if it costs $1,000. And then Jordan may get say 30%, and the white man may get 70%. So we are wise up. Okay? Let me read verses 10. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. You know there are a lot of people in the world who do not even recognize their own self. you realize that this very Bible tells you that by faith the world was created. Now let us look at faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Let me run it again. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the things you desire, the things you want in life. But the evidence of things not seen. You can't literally see the evidence. You can't literally see your spiritual self. You can't literally see your God self, your imaginary self. But you can use your imagination, and that thing that was spirit will become matter. It will become flesh. And then you will understand why it says he was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. You in the world, and you ain't realize that you have a power inside of you that create everything that you're seeing, that create the trees, that create the animals, the sun, the moon. Because you fail to realize that everything is connected, and that you are connected to everything, that you are the all, and the all is the all, and you in the all, and the all in you. And that's why you're told in that day, you know I in you and you in me. So you denying your very existence, you denying everything when you give your power away to a man outside of yourself. When you believe in a savior outside of yourself. When you believe in a healer outside of yourself. With that being said, I just want to reiterate of a testimony a brother shared, and he's on the live right now, where he was sick. This man was sick for a very long time, and this man was a Christian, and not just a Christian. And this man has claimed to be a born again, blood wash Christian, because that's how they normally say it, eh? And this man couldn't get any kind of healing. This man couldn't get any kind of recovery. He was sick. Calling any name of Jesus couldn't help this man either. You know what healed this man? And he could confirm what I'm saying because he's on the life. Sunlight. Sunlight. He had a deficiency. Vitamin D deficiency. He even said that experience was one thing that lead him to his awakening. That's one thing that wake him up. So my brothers and my sisters, those who are calling on Jesus and believing a man 2,000 years ago, they're actually giving away their power. That's why I'm encouraging you to take back your power. As I get down to a close, because I'm going to continue and continue. Because you know what? There are those who would say to you, when you quote certain verses, they'll say, why you ain't talking about the entire chapter? Showing you that I can interpret the entire chapter. And you must be able to show them that you can interpret the entire chapter and you can do it psychologically. And that everything they would say to you, it has to first be mental, it has to first be psychological. So when they speak to try to prove you wrong, they're actually proving you right, you know. You know, my brothers and my sisters, you realize this truth can't be proven wrong? You realize if Gino Jennings open his mouth and speak against this. He proved me right. That why Gino Jai will never accept a challenge from me, you know. You never man accept or reject, it's still proving you right, because it still have to be a false attack. Ask a religious person to tell you one thing that was done in the Bible, whether good or evil, that wasn't false at all. That wasn't false mental. That wasn't false psychological. Ask them the question. Tell them if they can tell you one thing that wasn't false at all, one thing that was done in the Bible, from Genesis 1 to Revelation 22, that you will come and you will join them. You become a Christian with them. So, my brother and my sisters, truth cannot be proven wrong. Darkness cannot comprehend light. So let me come down here so I could come to a close, so we could continue next week. So he said he was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. So many people do not know themselves. So many people do not know that they are God in flesh. So many people do not know that everything in this world that was created, it was for us imagined. So many people do not know that. Now, let me say that there are many people who have commented in the comment section, who have asked many questions. I would have seen one. Yes, so as I was saying, all of these questions will be answered when I start to do questions and answers. But the most important thing right now is to bring answers to people so we can help our people to get out of the mind trap. To get rid of the idol, Jesus is the idol. Okay? That is slave master idol to keep you in a continual. Back?
Back.
Okay, we are back. So let me end off here with verse 11. Okay, so I'll end with verse 11 where he say, he came. You see when people see the word he and him, and we were taught in school, those are person and pronoun and so on. You believe he's speaking about person when it's actually personification. That's how they check you. Okay? That is why the greatest education you can ever have is self-realization. True education is within. Everything they use to educate in school is just false imagine. It was false an idea. Always remember that. Okay? He said he came unto his own, and his own received him not. So many people are failing to receive themselves. So many people are failing to accept themselves. So many people are failing to realize that everyone that they're seeing, that they are their own self being pushed out. The vagrant you see on the street is just another version of you. The rapist is just another version of you. The homosexual is just another version of you. That's why I don't hate on no one. It doesn't matter what your lifestyle. The lesbian is just another version of you. In my country, Christian marching against homosexuals, speaking against them, have hatred and envy towards them. That's another version of me. That's just a lower version. Because they're higher and lower. There comes a time when some of them, even if it's in another life, they come to the higher version of themselves. We are all here having this experience. So my brother, my sisters, you got to take back your mind. You have to take back your power by understanding that imagination creates reality. And God is your imagination. And you have to use your imagination to create your reality consciously. When you prove it for yourself, there's nothing that anyone can say in this world to discourage you. When you know you create something, when you know you use your mind, you use your imagination and imagine that thing, and you get that thing, There's a brother who shared a testimony with me. I was supposed to put it up on my Facebook group, which I would do. Okay? But I'll share it here with you also. He reached out to me and asked me how to go about getting a Siamese cat. To be honest with you, I would have never even heard of a Siamese cat before. So I went and I looked at pictures of a Siamese cat. I said, oh, because I love cats. Okay, I actually love cat more than dog. I said, oh, I wish I could get a cat like that too. That look like a pet cat to lift up and so on, you know. I love it. When I see Siamese cat, when they look, I say, oh, I love them. They're beautiful. And he wanted a Siamese cat, and I tell him exactly what to do. The guy sent me the email. The guy has the Siamese cat now. And based on what he's telling me, didn't cost him anything. And he had no license or permission from, I think it's the apartment or whatever. He was supposed to present and all of that. They didn't even ask for that. And let me give you something else on that same thing. He went and he actually bought cat food and he had no cat. And strangely enough, a cat came around his environment and was never there before. And he started to feed that particular cat. And when he got his Siamese cat, the other cat disappeared. My brother, my sisters, imagination creates reality. I think this guy's what? Is all the way in China? Yeah, he's all the way in China. It's that Chinese guy. We are all one. We are all connected. Take control of your mind power, my brother, my sisters. Share this message with your friends and your relatives, especially those who still trapped in secular Christianity. But you have to do things that will help them. If they see your life change, even if it's materialistically, do it. So that they will have proof. Because results don't tell lie. So my brother, my sisters, you be the light. Let your light so shine before men that they will behold the good works and glorify the God that they will see in you, the light that they will see in you. But you have to teach them that God is within. And they must embrace the higher self. So with that being said, my brother, my sister, I really want to thank you all very, very much for supporting this life and for supporting this work. Without you guys, I can't do it. And all of you who put your energy together, you put me on fire. And the fire just gets started. And this Bible study just gonna get better and better and better and better and better. So I want to say to you, gratitude, namaste. Sorry I gotta leave, but we don't leave. Neither do we say goodbye. We just say until. So I'm just gonna leave you by saying until. I'm out.